Hey, everybody, and welcome to Key Conversations for Leaders. I'm your host, John Ryan, and today we have a very special guest, Karen Walker. Karen is an executive coach and consultant who advises CEOs and senior leaders on thriving in hypergrowth. She has worked with clients including Aetna, AWS, Pfizer, JPMorganChase, and BMC Software, as well as Inc. 5000 startups. Karen is also a board advisor, keynote speaker, and the author of No Dumbing Down, a guide for CEOs on organization growth. As employee number 104 at Compaq, Karen helped lead the then fastest growing company in American history, growing from zero to $15 billion in revenue. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you, John. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for asking.
Thank you. I want to start off by asking, because, employee number 104, that's an incredible thing to have in your pedigree. What was it like to be employee number 104?
Yeah, well, at the time, it was just Employee 104, right? We had no idea what was coming. We hadn't shipped any products yet. It was 100 people sounds like a lot, but it really wasn't. I mean, we sort of always thought of ourselves as a big company in the formative stages. But I would say it was almost undescribable to be in a company that grew to $111 million in revenue its first year, and then to two something, three something, five something, fastest to a billion, and to be able to be in a situation where you could grow and develop your skills, right, to manage an organization and to lead in that kind of environment was unbelievable. And in part, and we'll talk about this later, I'm sure, it was just that there was so much to do and how to figure out what to do and what not to do and how to hire the right kinds of people and um, continue to work cross-functionally. And it was amazing. I knew at the time it was unusual, but I didn't fully appreciate it until I left. Yeah.
Well, that certainly is an example of hypergrowth, I would imagine. And that's one of the areas that you focus on, is helping companies to kind of manage and lead that type of development. Can you tell us about what hypergrowth means to you, and what are some of the challenges that go along with it?
Sure. So I think about hypergrowth. If we think about the S curve, right? Hypergrowth is that steep part of the S curve, and if you're fortunate enough to find yourself on it, you want to get all of the effectiveness that you can out of your organization to get you to the top, or at least to the point where you can grab onto the next curve that's coming up. So I've been working. I left Compaq. It was $15 billion and about 17,000 employees. And at that point, although I had a lot of history there, it was like it was another big company. I had sort of lost for me the magic, right, of the reason that I joined. So I took some time off to figure out what I wanted to do next. Moved to New York. I took classes at Columbia. I had a consulting job follow my lab. And I took advantage of that, and I really liked consulting. So I've been working with primarily, but not exclusively, as you said in the intro, tech CEOs for the last couple of decades now on how to navigate that. So I work with the leaders of the organization and their teams primarily. There are a number of things you have to pay attention to, but at some point it comes down to execution, right? If you're in hypergrowth, that means you found a product market fit. And so I'm not here to help you with that, although we can refine it. I'm here to help you create those internal strategies to support the external growth that you found. And so making sure that we have sort of alignment for goals, that the teams are working effectively, and that there's accountability in place for the right things, and that you create a culture of sort of debrief and learn, because so much is happening so fast. You need every opportunity to learn from that.
So, kind of unpacking a little bit what you're saying in terms of the hypergrowth, it's not that you come in and help them find that ultimate market fit that gets them to go into that S curve, but once they're there, how do they make sure that they're following the North Star to keep on going? Because imagine that that's a critical threshold, and if they don't do it right, that they actually can slide backwards and have capacity issues and demand
That's
issues, I imagine,
exactly
everywhere.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's about delivering on the promise you made to your customers, right? Because if you're on that curve, you have made a lot of promises, and internally, you need to make sure that you're able to deliver on those if you're going to continue your growth. And it's not easy. There are many pitfalls along the way. So I would say you described that quite well.